So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields, and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Gabrielsen, and I'm the tiny one.
So, floods.
Floods.
Rain.
Yes.
Yes. Many people, a shout out to those in our community that have lost their things, the things they've stored in their cellars, some things in their house. Communities lost a lot of money, but I don't believe any lives were lost in the flood.
No.
Which was very good. And this is the second time that this has happened in the last,
8 years.
8 years, exactly. It was 2014. Mm-hmm. Which means that they probably need to look at that a little bit because when it happened in 2014, they called it the 200-year flood.
No, the down they said was going to be a 50-year flood. And now it's been 8 years.
Now it's been 8 years. We know climates are changing. You know, you can discuss what you think is the reason for it changing, but it's definitely changing.
Definitely.
Yeah. In the old days, the winters were so much colder and longer here, and it's much more mild, a lot more rain. So, yeah, shout out to all the people who are listening that have had some trouble there. We had one person in our dojo who had lost their apartment. Yeah, but...
and for those that doesn't live in us, we have had a flood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the water had risen around 8 meters.
Yes, 6.5, I think it came to.
Yeah, 6.5.
Something like that.
Yeah, but
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of water.
I think it may have even been more by the end because it was still rising when the rain stopped. It's crazy. That's a whole lot of water. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been surfing, but 1 cubic meter of water. So that's 1 meter up, 1 meter across, 1 meter deep, right? You can think of like a box. It's a square meter filled with water. That's a ton. So when that stuff starts moving, believe me, it means something. And then you're thinking, yeah, but the water only raised like 6 meters, 7 meters, 8 meters, whatever it was. Yeah, but think about that. Because it's never just a solid column straight up 1 meter. You know, we're talking about walls of water and floods and pressure changes in the sewers so that your toilets explode and the sewer empties itself out into your cellar. You know, if you have anything sitting there that's has gas in it or oil or whatever, it gets backed up. It's pretty devastating.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of get into the fact that you realize how much money you're spending on things because there's a football field out there that has AstroTurf, right?
That's what a kunstgräsbane is called in
Yeah,
English?
that's okay. AstroTurf. That's right. So, and underneath this, what do they have? They have like,
I have no clue.
They're like little like black rubber
Yeah,
particles.
I know when I was a kid and played on those, you know, they're kind of like tiny black rubber things.
Yeah, they're like pieces of rubber. Yeah, they are rubber. Like
but
it's
tires.
Yeah,
it's not good for your health or environment. It's bitsy tiny ones, but they're not underneath. They are in the grass. I think it has to do with that when you run on it, you get more. It could get softer.
Padding. Yeah, it gets padding.
Think.
Like there's padding there, which is also a little bit of a weird thing because you guys probably know this that when you spit in that or you sweat in it or you know, things happen nature-wise and it starts to decompose in there. It doesn't decompose like it does in soil. Like in normal grass, there's like a process of decomposition that it cleans itself. So when you're on a normal grass field, it's much healthier. So when you get a scrape on your knee when you fall on this AstroTurf stuff, man, the infections can be wicked because the stuff that grows in that is, I don't know, it's it's a different dimension, man. It'll get you.
Yes.
But you also see how much money people put on that. What was it that the newspaper said that?
I haven't. I just looked at it, and for me, I think it's so much money used on that thing. And I know we have a lot of soccer enthusiasts out there. I don't want to piss anyone off, and we have the FIFA World Championship coming up right now, but it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's
100 million crowns.
well, no, that's in total in everything. But they not just the
Football
soccer
field.
No,
Yeah.
it's the whole community. But they just laid down new pieces of the field for over 200,000-300,000 crowns. And now it's gone.
That's amazing. It basically
And it's
got
built
swept
in a
away.
flood zone, so it's not like they didn't know that it was a flood zone. It wasn't a flood zone. It is a flood zone. It's always been a flood zone.
Yeah.
But they still chose to put the 2 large soccer fields there.
Yeah. There you go. Or they think, well, it's going to be 200 years until this one comes back, or maybe 50,
Or 8.
maybe 8.
Maybe 8.
Bam. So if I was an insurance company, I'd be like, don't know if I want to support this behavior.
But wasn't you the one that asked you're talking to a meteorologist? What's it called?
Meteorologist,
Yeah, the weather people.
weather specialist.
And he said that the amount of rain is going to rain in your spot is going to be the same amount of rain.
Well, not in your spot. He said
But
in
it-
general
yeah.
in Norway. He said that he said in general, if you measure the amount of precipitation or snow / sleet / water, all kinds of
Water form.
coming from
Water in all forms. and
water
shapes.
in all forms, then you're going to have in general the same amount every year.
But you don't know how and when.
Where exactly. So it can come all at once, and it can come all in one spot, or it can be distributed throughout the year over a large area.
And it can come as snow or as rain.
Exactly. And that's a big difference, right? So if all of this rain that had now washed away the
And they
football
have been
fields,
saying now for, because the electrical prices in Norway has gone up because on the east side of the country, it's been very dry. We have not had it dry, but on
No.
the east side of the country, it's been very dry. Well, we got the rest of it now. So
yeah, we got all of it basically. So, of course, of the reasons that they have for increasing the electricity prices are, of course, the fact that it's dry someplace in Norway. That's what they're going to use that as an excuse anywhere and anytime. And they do that often. And then you have the next level of that. And that is that they've made some weird business deals with other countries that then give away the electric power in Norway to other countries for, I have no idea why they would
that's
do that.
politics.
It's a lot of politics and way too complicated for me to understand. Too many things touching each other, and I have
That
no
gets
idea.
me just pissed off. So I choose
too.
not to engage in it.
Yep.
I deal with what I can and work with what I can, and that is out of my capacity and reach.
And that's a very good place to start this podcast. I think that was a beautiful thing. So you work where you can with what you can, and you let the rest go, right? Yeah, that's it. We talk often about responsibility as being able to respond, right? So if you're not able to respond to something, what do? You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, right? And it's not about being a person walking through life not caring, but at the same time, if you're traumatized every time something happens across the globe that you can't really relate to, then you're going to have a bad life.
I was reading today about how in the Nile.
Denial. Denial.
The
Yes.
Nile, in the Nile in Egypt.
Yep.
They pick up. I think how was it? I think they had pigs that before took care of a lot of the trash.
Yeah.
But then they had to kill the pigs because of the bird flu.
Yeah.
So they don't have any pigs anymore. So where does the trash go?
In the Nile.
in the Nile.
Yep.
So now they're getting paid to pick up this trash and plastic, of course. And this upsets me because we're wrecking the Nile, and we are horrible that way. But I can't do anything with it. What I can do, however, is that I can use like this multiple time used bag when I go to the store.
Yeah.
That I can do.
Exactly. And you can use
So that's something I can do, but it doesn't help me that I worry about the Nile when I'm living in Voss, Norway.
Exactly.
If I don't have $1 billion to put in preservance of the Nile, I don't have that yet. Worrying about it doesn't help anyone.
Nope.
But I can do small stuff in my everyday life, which I do.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And that's the difference, which what you talked about is not about going through life and not caring, but it's
Exactly.
about caring about the things you actually can change and not
Yes.
about the things that are way out of your reach.
That's it. And also taking the information in, allowing it to affect you in that way that you feel what's going on, and then you respond to it. And respond to it in whatever way you can, which has to be situationally appropriate. Meaning that, you're not going to drop everything at home and fly over to Egypt and start pulling plastic trash out of the Nile, right?
Yeah, I can do that in between working.
Yeah, between patients, you're going to fly back and
Yes.
forth, right? That's the thing. It's situationally appropriate. And that's one of the things that I'm working on a lot with the mastermind group. I thought that's a interesting thing because we have a array of different people who are in the mastermind group who are really working deep and hard on their own personal evolution. And they're at different phases of life. They have different opportunities and different challenges and different ages, right? Mm-hmm. And one of our really, really motivated...
And genders.
Yeah, and
We have,
of course,
I
yeah.
think it's so amazing because we have men and female, and in people that are, the youngest one is 21, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, we don't know if we have more than 2 genders, by the way. We only know that we apparently have 2.
Wait for it.
Maybe there are more. I don't know if
Yeah.
they,
Well,
what they,
let that one-
yeah. Let that one fly.
Don't talk about that.
All right.
But-
All right. We'll have to call Jordan Peterson for a debrief afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, but dealing with emotions is not that easy because having mental or emotional issues, problems, is something that's not actually seen as something to talk about or an open theme. Mental health issues and emotional health issues are something that's pushed down in society
Well, yeah,
and
yes.
pushed away.
Yeah, mental issues are more talked about now.
Yeah.
But emotions are horrific and weak and don't exist. And even when they talk about emotion, they call it mental issues,
Well,
which
that's-
I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
They're grouped up into one thing.
yeah,
right?
the group. I'm like, no, they're
They're not the
very
same.
separated. That you can't call anger and anxiety a mental problem. It's an emotional issue.
Exactly. So the difference, so you guys understand, is if you do the same thing and expect a different result over and over, that's a mental issue. That's a misunderstanding or a lack of ability to perceive the fact that what you're doing is not working. That's mental. Emotional is having emotions. So if you can say anxiety or depression or sadness, that's an emotional issue, right?
But I would think then you're gonna get into the point where we don't have the vocabulary and we don't know what emotions are because either you're happy or angry and there kind of stops.
Yeah.
You don't have a bigger vocabulary than that. You maybe heard about depression, but you never heard about ecstasy. That's an emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there we have a vocabulary issue.
There's a big issue when it comes to articulating it, talking about it, finding vocabulary for it, because nowhere in your normal upbringing, your normal education, have you ever heard about emotional education or how to deal with your own inner climate. That's the thing. Weirdly enough, you would imagine that education should prepare you for life.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Come on. Seriously? Like, of the percentage of stuff that you learned at school besides having to show up on time, having to participate in a group, and having to shut up when somebody else is talking.
And read. You learn
And
to
read,
read.
yeah,
Read
you
is
learn,
good.
learn to read and write. That's
Yeah.
but basically after kindergarten, the rest of it's just number and fact crunching. Like honestly, most of the mathematics that you use, you actually don't lose. I just say that most of the mathematics that you learned, you don't use,
Correct.
right? Wouldn't it be okay not to push math away, not to push arts away, but wouldn't it be okay if there was also some time in there for people to learn how to deal with what they're dealing with and also understand that other people have that?
You would think so.
It's right. It would be a lot better for us to invest in that, because part of what's going on, which is quite absurd, honestly, is that the media is twisting things in a way that young, beautiful women at the age of 20 feel they need to get